Alex was an ordinary human, living on Earth in a small apartment with a quiet life. He worked in a simple office, he ate normal food, he watched movies, and he dreamed about adventures that never came. But one morning, his world changed forever. It began with a knock on his door. At first, he thought it was a neighbor, but when he opened the door, he saw tall figures in glowing armor. They were not human soldiers, they were alien guards, their eyes glowing blue under sharp helmets. The leader spoke in a calm but powerful voice. "By order of the Royal Command, you must come with us." Alex froze, his heart beating fast. "Royal Command?" He asked. "What does that mean? I haven't done anything wrong." But the guards did not explain. They only repeated, "You must come now." Before Alex could think, they surrounded him and guided him outside. A shining ship floated above the street, silver and alive with strange lights. Neighbors looked from their windows in shock, but nobody dared to speak. The ship opened with a hiss, and Alex was pushed inside. The interior was like nothing he had ever seen. Walls pulsed with living light. The air hummed with quiet energy. Seats shaped themselves to fit his body as if the ship was alive. The guard sat in silence, watching him. Alex tried to ask questions, but no one answered. The ship lifted with a sudden rush, and Earth became small below through the window. Alex saw stars stretching forever. He realized he was leaving his planet, and he had no choice. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. He could not tell. Finally, the ship approached a massive station hanging in space like a shining crown. It was larger than any city on Earth. Glowing with towers and bridges that floated in the void, strange ships came and went. Some shaped like wings, others like animals. This was not human design, this was alien civilization at its peak. The ship landed, and Alex was led out. The floor beneath him was crystal, glowing with every step. Alien beings of many kinds moved through the halls. Tall, short, with wings, with tails, with glowing skin, and in the middle of them walked Alex, the only human feeling small and out of place. He was brought into a huge hall, where banners of silver and gold hung from the walls. At the far end sat a throne of light, and on it, a figure with a crown of living flame. It was the alien king, ruler of this strange empire. The king's eyes locked on Alex, sharp and cold. "Human," the king said. "You have been chosen." Alex swallowed hard, his voice shaking. "Chosen for what? I don't even know why I'm here." The king did not smile, he did not blink. Instead, he raised his hand and the hall fell silent. "You will live in the royal palace," the king declared. "By my order, you will share chambers with my daughter. The princess, you will be her companion, her roommate." The hall echoed with whispers. Aliens turned their heads, some shocked, some angry. A human living with the princess? It was unthinkable. Alex felt his stomach twist. He thought it was some kind of mistake. He wanted to shout that he was just a normal man, but the king's eyes silenced him. "This is not a request," the king said, his voice like thunder. "It is royal command, refuse, and you will not leave this palace alive." Alex's heart pounded. He tried to understand why him, why a human, why the princess, but there was no answer. Only the weight of destiny pressing down on his shoulders. The guards took him through more corridors, past alien statues and glowing doors. Finally, they stopped in front of a chamber with silver walls and golden carvings. "This will be your new home," one guard said, his voice flat. "And inside waits the princess." Alex stared at the door, fear and curiosity fighting inside him. He was just a human, pulled from his quiet life, now standing at the edge of something greater. His hand trembled as he reached for the handle. The door slid open with a whisper, light spilling out, and for the first time, Alex stepped into the room where his fate would begin. Inside, someone was waiting, and her presence was stronger than the stars outside. The alien princess, his new roommate. Chosen by royal command, the door slid open, and Alex stepped into the chamber. The room was vast, far larger than any room on Earth. The walls were alive with glowing patterns that shifted like moving stars. Crystals floated in the air, spinning slowly, casting colors across the floor. It was not just a bedroom. It was a throne room and a sanctuary combined. At the center of the chamber, standing near a tall window, was the alien princess. Her figure was tall and graceful, her skin faintly glowing as if touched by starlight. Her hair floated gently, as though space itself moved through it. Her eyes turned toward Alex, eyes brighter than any jewel. In that moment, Alex felt the weight of her presence. She was not human, and yet she was more than royalty. She was power and mystery combined. The princess did not speak right away. She simply studied him, her expression unreadable. The silence pressed on Alex's chest like heavy chains. Finally, she said, her voice soft but sharp like a blade. So, this is the human my father forces into my chambers. Alex felt his throat dry. He wanted to bow, to show respect, but his body refused to move. Instead, he muttered, I didn't choose this. I don't even know why I'm here. The princess raised an eyebrow, her glowing eyes narrowing. You speak as if your choice matters, human. You are here because the king commands it, nothing more. Her tone cut through him. Alex felt small, weaker than ever, yet a flicker of anger rose in his chest. He had been dragged from his life without reason, treated like a prisoner. Now this princess, with all her power, looked at him as if he were dirt. He clenched his fists but held back his words. The princess turned away, walking slowly across the chamber. Her dress shimmered like liquid silver, leaving a trail of light as she moved. She touched a crystal near the wall, and it brightened, showing images of stars. Do you know what it means to live in this palace, human? She asked without looking at him. Alex shook his head. No one tells me anything. She laughed, but the laugh was cold. It means you are never free. Every step you take is watched. Every word you speak is judged, one mistake, and you vanish from existence. Her words made Alex shiver. He wondered if this was a warning or a test. Still, something in her voice hinted at loneliness. Hidden under layers of pride, he tried to be brave. If you don't want me here, trust me, I don't want to be here either. The princess turned sharply, her eyes flashing. Then we are in agreement. Human, stay out of my way and maybe you will survive. She moved closer, and Alex felt her presence like fire and ice. Even though she looked calm, her eyes carried storms. He realized she hated this arrangement as much as he did. 2 guards entered the chamber, carrying items for Alex. A small bed, some clothing, a case with human food. The princess looked at it with disgust. They actually expect me to share my chambers with this creature, she whispered. Not even hiding her words, Alex felt heat in his face. Shame and anger mixing, but he stayed silent. The guards bowed to the princess and left, the door closed, leaving only Alex and her in the glowing silence. The princess walked back to the window, staring out at the endless stars. Do you know why my father did this? She asked suddenly. Alex shook his head again. No. I'm still trying to understand. She turned her head slightly, her glowing hair shifting. It is politics, human, some treaty, some show of trust between your kind and mine. But do not think for a second that you matter. You are only a symbol, nothing more. Alex swallowed hard, her words heavy like chains, but deep inside, he felt something different if he was only a symbol. Why did the king's eyes seem so serious, so secret? Why did the hall fall silent when his command was given? No, Alex thought. There was more to this than anyone was telling him. The princess looked at him once more. You may stay here, human, but know this. One mistake, one insult, and I will make sure you vanish before the next sunrise. Her voice was final. Her command clear. Alex nodded slowly, but in his heart, he felt a strange spark. He was afraid, yes, but also curious. Who was this princess truly behind the fire and pride? And why did destiny place him here by her side that night? As the stars shone through the window, the human and the princess began their life as unwilling roommates. Neither trusted the other. Both carried anger and fear, but under that, a storm of secrets was waiting, and Alex knew his life would never be ordinary again. The morning light inside the alien palace was not like sunlight on Earth. It was soft, glowing from the crystal walls themselves. Filling every corner of the chamber, Alex opened his eyes slowly, feeling stiff on the narrow bed the guards had given him. It was small compared to the princess's luxurious couch of floating silver threads. The contrast reminded him of who he was here, an outsider, a guest by command, not by choice. He turned his head and saw the princess already awake, standing near her tall window. She looked as if she had not slept at all, her arms crossed, her glowing hair moving gently in the air. Her gaze was fixed outside, where ships passed like bright birds in the void. Alex cleared his throat. Morning, he said quietly. The princess did not answer. She only glanced at him once, her eyes sharp as blades, then turned back to the stars. The silence stretched heavy and cold. Alex rubbed his face and muttered, well, this is going to be fun. To his surprise, the princess spoke, her voice calm but filled with steel. You are not here for fun, human. You are here because of duty, do not forget it. Alex sat up. Yes, I heard that part yesterday. The king made it pretty clear. He wanted to sound confident, but his voice carried more frustration than strength. The princess finally turned, her long robe flowing behind her. You do not understand. Your very presence here is dangerous. Humans are seen as weak, primitive, unworthy of standing beside royalty. If you fail to act with honor, it will not only shame you, it will shame me. Alex blinked, surprised by her words. So, it's not just about me. It's about you too, he said. The princess frowned, as if admitting that truth made her angry. Yes, and I will not allow a clumsy earthborn creature to damage my honor, she said coldly. Alex felt heat rising in his face. He wanted to argue, but he also realized something. Maybe she hated this arrangement as much as he did, maybe more for her. It was not just uncomfortable, it was humiliating. The thought softened his anger, if only a little. Later, servants entered the chamber, bringing food for the princess. There were floating bowls filled with glowing fruits and shimmering liquids for Alex. There was a simple tray with bread-like slices and something that smelled like beans. The princess wrinkled her nose as Alex picked up a slice and bit into it. Disgusting, she muttered. The smell is unbearable. Alex rolled his eyes. Well, sorry, princess, but this is what keeps humans alive. He took another bite loudly. Just to annoy her, the princess turned away with a sharp hiss. But Alex noticed a spark of amusement in her eyes before she hid it. The day passed slowly, with both of them testing the limits of their strange arrangement. Alex walked around the chamber, curious about the glowing crystals and floating lamps. The princess scolded him whenever he touched something. That is sacred, human. Do not put your dirty hands on it, she snapped when he reached for a shining orb. Alex raised his hands in defense. Relax. I was just looking. Looking leads to breaking, and breaking leads to punishment, she replied without mercy. Despite the tension, there were moments of strange humor. When Alex tried one of the alien fruits, it burned his tongue like fire, and he spat it out coughing. The princess laughed softly, the first real laugh he had heard from her. It seems humans are not ready for royal food, she said with pride. Alex grinned. Maybe your food is not ready for humans. For a second, their eyes met and neither looked away. The air between them shifted, not friendly, but not purely hostile either. That night, as Alex prepared his small bed, the princess spoke again, her tone more thoughtful than sharp. Do you know why my father chose you out of all humans? Alex shook his head. No, and I'd really like to find out. The princess's eyes narrowed, glowing in the dim light. There are whispers in the palace. Whispers that this is not just about treaties, not just about showing trust. Some believe my father is hiding something. Alex frowned. And you think I'm part of it? She studied him for a long moment, then said quietly, I don't know. But I will find out, and if you are a threat to me, I will end you before anyone else does. Her words were cold, but Alex noticed a shadow behind them. Was it fear? Was it doubt? He could not tell. He lay down on his bed, staring at the glowing ceiling. His life had changed in one night, and now he was trapped in a strange game he didn't understand. A game where even the princess, his new roommate, was both ally and enemy. Sleep came slowly, heavy with questions and unease. In the silence of the alien palace, the strange arrangement began to shape their fates. Two lives forced together by command, two hearts filled with mistrust, and somewhere beyond the walls, shadows moved, waiting for the moment to strike. The days after the king's command dragged Alex into a rhythm he never asked for. Every morning, the crystal walls glowed softly to wake the chamber. The princess always rose first, already dressed in silver robes and standing by her tall window. Alex would stumble out of his small bed, yawning, his hair messy, his clothes wrinkled. The princess always frowned when she looked at him, as if his very existence offended her royal eyes. You are late again, she said one morning. Her tone sharp. Alex rubbed his eyes. Late for what? I don't have a schedule here. She crossed her arms. When you live in a royal chamber, every moment is a schedule. Even your breathing should be dignified, Alex groaned. Well, sorry, princess, humans don't breathe with dignity. We just breathe. The servants often brought trays of food. The princess ate glowing fruits, shimmering drinks, and strange silver bread that sparkled as if full of light. Alex's food was plain by comparison. Soft loaves, beans, simple meats imported from Earth. The princess always wrinkled her nose. The smell of your food makes the air heavy. Human, Alex grinned and took a louder bite. Good. Now it feels like home. Despite her cold words, there were moments where the barrier between them cracked. One evening, Alex tried to teach her a simple Earth game with cards. She sat stiffly at first, clearly annoyed. But slowly curiosity took over. When Alex managed to win 3 times in a row, she narrowed her glowing eyes. "You cheated," she said sharply. Alex laughed. "No, I didn't. You just have no poker face." She tilted her head, confused. "Poker face?" Alex leaned closer. "It means you show your emotions too easily. I can tell when you're about to win." Her lips pressed tight, but then for the first time, she smiled in just a small curve, quick and hidden, but real. Not all moments were light. Sometimes their differences were like knives. Alex liked to whistle, a habit from Earth. The princess nearly shouted the first time she heard it. "That sound is forbidden in the palace halls. It is a call used by spies." Alex stopped mid-note, shocked. "It's just music for me." She shook her head, her eyes hard. "In this world, nothing is just anything. Every action carries weight. Even simple things caused conflict." When Alex left his shoes near the bed, she ordered the servants to throw them out. "Royal chambers are not for dirty objects," she snapped. Alex chased the poor servant halfway down the hall to get them back. Later, he returned out of breath, glaring at the princess. "Those are not dirty." "They're comfortable," he said. The princess replied without emotion. "Comfort is weakness. Discipline is strength," Alex muttered under his breath. Maybe that's why everyone here looks so stressed, yet slowly they began to notice each other differently. One night when Alex couldn't sleep, he found the princess sitting by the window, her face softer than usual. She was watching the stars in silence, her glowing hair casting shadows on the wall. For a moment, she looked less like a royal figure and more like a lonely person. Alex wanted to speak, but something stopped him. Instead, he just sat nearby, not too close, not too far. The silence between them was heavy, but it was not hostile. It was almost peaceful. But peace in the palace never lasted. The guards outside were always watching, their eyes cold when they glanced at Alex. Whispers followed him whenever he walked the halls. "Human." "Mistake." "Insult to the throne." He heard in languages he barely understood. The princess heard them too, but she never defended him, never explained, at least not yet. Tension grew inside the chamber. Some nights Alex felt like a prisoner, trapped in golden walls. Other nights he felt like a guest, learning secrets of another world, but always at the center of it was the princess, sometimes cruel, sometimes curious, sometimes silent, a mystery he could not solve. One evening, as the stars drifted past the window, she spoke without warning. "Do you know why people here despise you, human?" Alex looked up. "Because I eat beans?" She ignored his attempt at humor, her voice sharp. "They believe you do not belong. They see you as weak, a burden forced upon me." Alex clenched his fists. "Then maybe I should leave." Her eyes narrowed, glowing with a strange intensity. "No, you cannot leave, because if you go, it means they were right." Her words echoed in his chest, heavy with meaning. For the first time, Alex felt a small shift. The princess may not like him, but she did not want him to fail. Not because of kindness, but because her honor was tied to his survival. It was a bond neither of them wanted, but neither could escape. That night, Alex lay awake, staring at the ceiling. He realized life as the princess's roommate was not only strange and difficult, it was dangerous, and somewhere deep in his gut, he felt the storm was only beginning. Life in the palace grew heavier with each passing day. At first, Alex thought the biggest challenge was sharing a chamber with the princess. Her cold words, her pride, her endless rules, but soon he noticed something else, something darker. The palace itself seemed to breathe with secrets, and those secrets were watching him. It began with whispers in the halls. Whenever Alex walked with guards or servants, voices followed him. "Human," they said in hushed tones. "Mistake." "Weak." Some spoke in alien tongues, but the tone was always sharp, always poisoned. Alex tried to ignore it, but he felt the weight of eyes on his back. Even in silence, he could sense it. One night, Alex left the chamber quietly, hoping to breathe in the cool air of the garden he had seen earlier. The crystal corridors glowed faintly as he walked, but halfway through he froze. 2 guards stood at the end of the hall, speaking in low voices. He couldn't understand all the words, but one phrase cut clear on. "The human will not last long." They laughed softly, a cruel laugh before walking away. Alex stood in the shadows, his heart racing. Was it a threat, or just palace gossip? He couldn't tell. Back inside, the princess noticed his pale face. "You look as if you've seen a ghost," she said coldly. Alex hesitated, then replied, "I think people here want me gone." The princess tilted her head, her glowing eyes unreadable. "Of course they do. Your presence is an insult to their pride. Did you expect flowers and cheers?" Alex clenched his fists. "No, but I didn't expect to feel hunted either." Her gaze sharpened, and for a moment something flickered in her expression. Not anger, but thought. The next day Alex noticed more. Servants pausing when he passed, guards whispering when they thought he couldn't hear. Even inside the chamber, strange things began to happen. Once, he found one of his human food packs torn open, the contents spoiled. Another time, the small communicator he kept from Earth went missing, only to reappear a day later. He knew he hadn't misplaced it. Someone had been inside their chamber, he told the princess. But she did not react the way he expected. Instead of surprise, she only folded her arms. "Spies are everywhere in this palace, human. Even in my chamber. Nothing here is safe." Her words were calm, almost casual. Alex stared at her. "And you're okay with that?" Her eyes flashed. "I am not okay, but I am used to it. This is the life of royalty." That night, Alex lay awake, listening. The chamber was silent, but he swore he heard faint scratching beyond the walls, like claws moving slowly, carefully. He sat up. His breath caught in his throat. But when he looked around, the princess was still by the window, calm and still. Either she didn't hear it, or she pretended not to. The next morning, an incident made things worse. Alex stepped into the corridor outside, only to find a strange mark scratched into the crystal wall. It was a symbol, sharp and curved, glowing faintly red when he touched it. His fingers tingled as if burned. The guards rushed over, their faces dark. One snarled at him, "Do not touch that, human. It is not meant for you." Before Alex could ask, they erased the mark with a flash of light. But the look in their eyes told him everything. The mark was a warning, and it was meant for him. Back inside, Alex told the princess, his voice tense, "They're marking me, princess. Like I don't belong. Like I'm a target." For the first time, she looked unsettled. Her glowing hair dimmed slightly as she said, "If the old families are moving, then this is worse than I thought." Alex frowned. Old families. She looked away. The lords of the palace, ancient bloodlines who hate change, they would see me removed. And your presence is the perfect excuse. Her words sank into him like ice. It was not just about him. He was a pawn in a larger game. If the lords wanted to weaken the princess, then hurting him would serve their purpose. That night, Alex stayed awake, his ears sharp for every sound. Shadows moved outside the window, though no guards were posted there. Once, he thought he saw glowing eyes watching through the glass. He sat up, heart racing, but when he blinked, they were gone. Still, he felt the danger closing in. The palace was no longer just strange, it was hostile. The princess noticed his unease. "You cannot show fear, human," she said quietly, her tone less sharp than usual. "They will feed on it. They will test you, and if you break, they will use your failure against me." Alex nodded, though his chest was tight. "I'm not going to break," he whispered, more to himself than to her. In the silence of the chamber, both of them knew the truth. The human was not welcome. The princess was surrounded by enemies, and hidden threats were already moving in the dark. The night was quiet, too quiet. The crystal walls of the royal chamber glowed softly, casting gentle light across the floor. The princess sat near her window, as always her gaze lost among the stars. Alex lay on his small bed, but sleep would not come. The whispers, the strange symbols, the cold eyes of the guards, they swirled in his mind like shadows. Something felt wrong tonight, heavier than usual. Then it happened. A faint click echoed in the chamber like metal against stone. Alex sat up sharply, his ears straining. The princess turned, her glowing eyes narrowing. "Did you hear that?" Alex whispered. Before she could answer, the crystal wall near the far side of the room shifted. A hidden panel slid open and dark shapes slipped inside. There were 3 of them, dressed in black armor, their faces hidden by masks. They moved like predators, silent and fast. In their hands were thin blades that glowed with red energy. Alex froze, his heart slamming against his ribs. The princess stood tall, her robe flowing. But even she looked tense. One of the intruders hissed in a strange language, pointing at Alex another step toward the princess. Blade raised. Everything happened in seconds. Alex didn't think, he moved. He grabbed the small chair near his bed and swung it at the nearest intruder. The blade slashed, sparks flying as metal met energy. The impact threw Alex backward, pain shooting up his arm. But it gave the princess a chance. Her hand rose, and a blast of silver light erupted from her palm. It struck the second intruder, sending him crashing into the wall. The room shook with the force, crystals cracking. The third assassin lunged at her, blade flashing, but Alex, his heart racing, grabbed the assassin's arm, pulling it away. The glowing blade came dangerously close to his neck. The heat burning his skin, he shouted, straining with all his strength, "Move!" The princess spun, her eyes glowing bright as stars. She released another wave of energy, hitting the assassin square in the chest. He flew across the chamber, smashing into the crystal wall. Motionless, the room fell silent again. Heavy with smoke and broken light, Alex dropped to his knees, gasping for air, his arms shaking. The princess looked at him, her face unreadable. "You fought," she said softly. Almost surprised, Alex laughed weakly. "What did you expect me to do? Hide under the bed?" Her lips tightened, but for once, she didn't speak with anger. Instead, she stepped closer, her glowing hair brushing the air like fire. "You saved me," she said quietly. Alex shook his head. "No, we saved each other." Before they could say more, guards burst into the room, weapons raised. They stopped when they saw the fallen intruders, their faces pale. The captain knelt, checking one of the assassins. "They are from the old families," he muttered, his voice low with fear. The princess's eyes hardened. "As I thought. They move openly now." The captain looked at Alex with suspicion, as if unsure whether to thank him or blame him. But the princess raised her hand, her voice sharp. "He stays and he fought for me. Remember that." The guards carried away the intruders, leaving the chamber in ruins. Cracks spread across the crystal walls. Furniture lay broken, the air heavy with the smell of burnt energy. Alex sat back down on his bed, exhausted, his hands still trembled, the memory of the glowing blade near his throat refusing to fade. The princess stood nearby, silent, watching him. For the first time since they met, her eyes did not carry only judgment. They carried something else, respect. "Do you understand now, human?" she asked, her voice softer than usual. "This palace is not safe, not even for me. You are not here by accident. You are part of a war hidden in shadows." Alex looked up at her, his voice low but steady. "Then I'll fight. I don't care if they think humans are weak. I won't let them kill me, and I won't let them kill you either." Her eyes widened slightly, then narrowed again. "You speak boldly, but boldness without strength is foolish," she said, though her tone lacked its usual cruelty. Still, Alex saw the truth in her eyes. She no longer saw him as only a burden. He was now a piece of her survival. That night, neither of them slept. The princess stood by her window, her hands glowing faintly with power. Alex sat near his bed, clutching a shard of broken crystal like a weapon. They did not speak much, but the silence between them was no longer cold. It was an understanding, fragile but real. Two strangers, forced together by command, now bound by danger. And in that moment, the first thread of trust began to form. A human and an alien princess, standing side by side against shadows that hunted them both. The palace never slept after the attack. Guards doubled their watch, servants whispered in fear, and rumors spread like fire through the crystal halls. But inside the princess's chamber, silence weighed heavier than ever. Alex sat on his bed, replaying the fight in his head. The glowing blade near his throat, the heat of it, the way the assassins moved like shadows. It was no accident, no test, it was murder. The princess walked slowly across the chamber, her glowing hair dim in the low light. Her eyes burned with thought, sharper than any blade. At last she spoke, her voice low. "This was not the first attempt on my life, but it is the first time they dared to strike inside my own chamber." Alex looked at her. "Who are they?" She stopped near the window, the stars reflecting in her eyes. "The old families," she said, her voice cold. "Powerful lords who sit in the council. Their bloodline's older than the throne itself. They see me as a threat, because I believe in change, in alliances, in peace with other races." Alex frowned, his chest tightening. "And bringing a human here, that gave them the perfect reason to attack, didn't it?" Her eyes met his, unblinking. Yes, they see you as proof that I am weak, that I would allow an outsider into the heart of the Empire. But they do not understand it was not my choice. It was my father's command. The words struck Alex hard. If the king had forced this arrangement, then he must have known danger would follow. Alex's voice grew tense. So why me? Why not some soldier, some diplomat, someone trained? The princess studied him for a long moment, her gaze sharp. That is the question I cannot answer. But I suspect my father chose you because you are unexpected. The Lord's plan for warriors and diplomats, but not for an ordinary human. The thought unsettled Alex. Ordinary was the one word that had always defined him, and now it was the reason he stood in the middle of a royal war. Later, the princess called for secret records, scrolls of light and memory crystals that only she could unlock. She spread them across the table, the glowing symbols shifting and changing as she touched them. Alex leaned closer, trying to follow, though much of it was in her alien language. Still, he saw enough. Names, bloodlines, maps of influence. The princess traced one glowing symbol with her finger, her jaw tight. This family, she whispered. The House of Renak, they control half the guard. If the assassins came from them, then my life is in greater danger than I thought. Alex leaned back, his stomach sinking. So, the guards who protect you might also be the ones trying to kill you. She nodded slowly, her eyes hard. Yes, trust in this palace is thin even for me. That is why your actions last night matter, human. You fought without fear. You stood against death itself, Alex laughed bitterly. Fear? I was terrified, but I didn't want to die. And I didn't want you to die either. The princess tilted her head, studying him as though he was a puzzle. That is why it mattered, she said softly. Almost to herself, over the next days, Alex and the princess worked in secret. She shared fragments of what she knew, the history of the council, the grudges between old families, the whispers of rebellion. He listened, asked questions, and in his human way, connected the pieces differently than her people did. One evening, while staring at the glowing maps, Alex noticed a pattern. These attacks, they're not random, he said, pointing at a series of marks on the crystal. They line up with the supply routes, the same routes your father uses to send food to the outer colonies. The princess leaned closer, her eyes widening slightly. You're right. The old families are not just attacking me. They're starving the colonies to weaken the king's support. The truth struck them both at once. This was not only about killing the princess. It was about breaking the empire from within. Piece by piece, the princess clenched her fists, her glowing hair flaring. If the council learns this, war will break out. The empire will fall into chaos. Alex felt his chest tighten. Then we can't let that happen. We have to expose them. For the first time, the princess smiled at him, not mocking. Not cruel, but sharp and dangerous. You speak like a warrior now. Human, she said. Alex shook his head. No, I'm not a warrior, I'm just trying to do what's right. Her eyes softened, only for a second, then hardened again. Then we will do it together. But know this, once we take this step, there is no turning back. The old families will hunt us both until one side falls. That night, the chamber felt different. No longer just a prison for Alex. No longer just a stage for the princess's pride. It was now a war room. A place where two unlikely allies planned to uncover the greatest secret in the empire. As the stars drifted beyond the window, Alex realized the truth was bigger than he ever imagined. He was not just a symbol or a burden. He was now part of a fight that could change the future of both their worlds.